Microsoft HoloLens Wearefuture legal case. What if Microsoft had stolen all this from a French startup called Wearefuture? Well, here is the real story between Microsoft and Wearefuture between 2013 and 2022. To understand what really happened, let's go back to the very beginning in 2013. Mr. Borde lives in Paris. He has worked for many years as a 3D designer and inventor, expert in French tech innovation. He created his company Wearefuture and submits numerous technological innovation projects. His projects are protected by international electronic copyright at WIPO Geneva. Its innovation projects are then proposed to different technological groups, industries and companies. They wish to obtain a position of innovation director to direct their many projects, establish their technological projects and industrialize their inventions. Mr. Borde wants to make a career in France or in the United States in a recognized technological group. His inventions relate to brand new disturb innovation technologies in the fields of augmented reality, virtual reality, connected objects, but also inventions for the future to serve the fields of entertainment, video games, connected fashion, new types of transport, innovations in security, drones, military gadgets, and many other areas of intervention. Mr. Borde designs and prepares nearly 300 interesting future patent projects proposable to the public and professional world, deserving production with investors and industrial engineers. Mr. Borde, among several contacted groups, presents himself to Microsoft France. He exchanges with Mr. Alain Crozier the PDF of Microsoft France and the innovation director Arnaud Fontaine for several months. He sends them an important project under copyright for Microsoft. It is an augmented reality headset project running on Windows. The project is 170 pages with detailed descriptions of explanatory visuals, a real technical documentation. Mr. Alain Crozier and Mr. Arnaud Fontaine send the project to the American teams of Microsoft Redmond, Washington. A few months go by. Microsoft proposes by email to Mr. Borde to present his project in the United States at the E3 Los Angeles show. The American development teams are waiting for him. Mr. Borde prepares his biometric passport and waits for the green light. Microsoft canceled at the last minute and postponed for a date for the next show. Despite numerous emails, Microsoft will no longer respond. 1 year after Monsieur Borde in front of Google News notices that Microsoft is going to release a Windows Helmet project. Tons of video on YouTube and Google News appear this year on Google. Mr. Borde discovered with amazement the exact copy of each detail of his project, then contacted Microsoft Paris to find out what was going on. Microsoft France refuses any comments or explanation for several months. Mr. Borde then makes the decision to file a complaint with the police in his neighborhood with all the elements used without his authorization in a USB key. Between 2013 and 2022, the elements of evidence of counterfeits have gradually appeared during all these consecutive years. Mr. Borde filed a complaint 6 times between 2014 and 2021. For example, the Windows IVAS reality augmented military helmets only appeared in 2019 and were the subject of a complaint on the same date for theft of counterfeit copyrights. Microsoft has built its headsets and sold them all over the world with many partner factories. Acer, Asus, Lenovo, HP, Samsung, Dell is participating in the project, which represents the participation of more than 1 million Chinese factory employees. This is a vast industrial and advertising operation for Microsoft. The French police indicated following the investigations that the facts were unfolded in the United States. So they transmitted the file to American justice. Here are the video elements that prove that Microsoft used Mr. Borde's file. There are 30 irrefutable proofs that we will see point by point together. For the rest of this video is provided under the YouTube description of the download links. Book de Monsieur Borde. Download it immediately, then continue the video. You will also see in these downloadable links also the site of Mr. Borde with the files under international copyright, the 84 emails and exchanges with Microsoft, the links to the 6 6 complaints in France and the American police investigation number for the city of Seattle near Redmond, Washington. Transmission letters to French justice. The form of the FBI section intellectual properties copyright submitted by Mr. Borde. Finger windows. Proof number 1. Finger pointer windows. Here are the elements of the first counterfeits. The first evidence that makes sense. Monsieur Borde sends an augmented reality helmet project running under Windows. This helmet works thanks to a system that tracks the hand. Thanks to a camera and a connect to allow with the finger and the hand to act and to replace the mouse of a computer. This new system allows total interactivity in 3D between the user's hand and the Windows augmented reality headset. Of course, Microsoft carried out this project with the same details as Wearefuture. First, look at the visuals of Mr. Borde's file on page 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Pause the video. Then compare and observe the counterfeit made by Microsoft. It is indeed the same project. This is the first evidence out of at least 30 indisputable evidence that you will see next in the report. Each time, do not hesitate to pause the video. Look in Mr. Borde's book to compare. Evidence number 2. 3D Windows screen. On the second counterfeit, we use the use of hands in hand tracking mode to move the windows in 3D. Hands can move windows, right and left, enlarge or shrink, zoom, write text like using the finger with a tablet. But in 3D, same thing as Mr. Borde's file page 15, 17, 20, 21, 43, 44. Look at the comparative visuals, then observe the video elements of Microsoft. This is indeed the same project, where you can control Windows in augmented reality with your hand and headset, have 3D navigation of the windows and control of the entire operating system. Proof number 3. Windows entirely in augmented reality. Windows HoloLens works totally in augmented reality and offers like Mr. Borde's record of using this helmet everywhere when moving. It works outside and allows you to walk around to work while lying down and see Windows operating transparently. We can thus superimpose, observe and act in the real and virtual world at the same time. See life-size holograms of 3D elements, tons of useful applications and software every day. You can view and check the counterfeit points by viewing his book on page 4, 7 and 22. Watch the Microsoft videos. Everything is exactly copied. Evidence number 4. Holodog, the virtual dog. On this fourth forgery, we discover with amazement that Monsieur Borde has been copied in every detail. His file proposed page 38 of his book to see a dog in augmented reality which follows everywhere the wearer of the Windows helmet. This virtual dog could be adopted cares trained to do tricks like throwing a virtual stick so that he can go get it virtually. Of course, at the exit of the Microsoft helmet or the first video on YouTube, we see the same virtual dog, called Holopet, or Holodog, created by Microsoft. Proof number 5. Jurassic Park, the virtual dinosaur. Same as counterfeit number 4. Another irrefutable element, we visualize a small dinosaur, which is controllable by hand, thanks to the Windows augmented reality headset. Between the visuals of Mr. Borde page 73 and the realization of Microsoft, there is absolutely no difference, the same way of presenting the hand in front of the hologram of the dinosaur and of controlling it. Microsoft has necessarily used Mr. Borde's documents without his consent. Evidence number 6. Billiards 3D. Mr. Borde had proposed that we can play billiards in augmented reality with the helmet in his book page 38. This pool table was real size in 3D hologram, we could play it quietly. You go like the other counterfeits. Once again, Microsoft is completely copying Monsieur Borde's project and creating the billiards application for his HoloLens helmet. Evidence number 7. Counterfeit astronaut number 7. We see on the video on YouTube a life-size augmented reality astronaut with his space suit like Neil Armstrong. NASA used the helmet during a rocket expedition. In Mr. Borde's file, page 71 appears an astronaut similar in every way with written AR Windows diminutive of Windows Augmented Reality. Look at page 71. Proof number 8. The Virtual Kitchen. On the internet, Microsoft shows its HoloLens helmet, allowing you to cook with the augmented reality helmet, which allows you to learn how to do professional cooking thanks to hologram instructions. Thanks to this system, you can stay focused on cooking while seeing the information, advice, and 3D objects. For example, vegetables, utensils, or professional equipment appear in 3D in your kitchen. A real cook with artificial intelligence helps and advises you when preparing your selected meal. Monsieur Borde has this visual exactly in his page 49 file sent to Microsoft in 2014. We see a hologram Japanese cook who teaches you how to cook with the Windows Augmented Reality headset. Look at the Microsoft version released in 2016. It looks exactly like the version of Mr. Borde. We see a cook with the HoloLens helmet cooking. Proof number 9. 3D architecture and augmented reality. Here is also another evidence. Mr. Borde is an inventor, researcher in research and development, but also a 3D graphic designer for architects in France. In his book, he wanted to make a helmet with Microsoft, allowing customers, architects, workers, developers, engineers, and technicians to see the whole building in 3D augmented reality on site to build more precisely and quickly. From the work carried out in 3D and planned by the Architectural Design Office, the construction teams could visualize the 3D project positioned perfectly on the construction site. Well, once again, the concept of Monsieur Borde has been entirely copied from page 43, 45 and page 74 of his book. Watch the comparison video. Mr. Borde clearly indicated in his book that the helmet had to be compatible with 3D architecture software from Autodesk. Microsoft has also copied this detail, allowing 3ds of architectural and engineering design offices to be inserted into the helmet with an Autodesk partnership. Being able to see precisely in 3D augmented reality pure for professionals saves time. Microsoft has indicated a 20% increase in productivity. This helmet has been sold to many companies, including that of Elon Musk, General Motors, Airbus, Saint-Gobain, L'Oreal, McLaren, Rolex, more than 100 from the Forbes 500 group. Proof number 10. The 3D car. Mr. Borde's file on page 44 offers software to see a car in 3D in real size with the augmented reality Windows helmet. You could turn around as if it were a real car, you could open the doors with a sales advisor or garage repairman. Virtual holographic. Test several cars or make a repair with the advice of the virtual repairman. Monsieur Borde had proposed a partnership with Renault. The book also indicates the introduction of factory helmets to build cars faster. Once again, the counterfeit is obvious. Microsoft has used the concept of Monsieur Borde with the brands Volvo, Ford, McLaren, and Tesla. Watch the video evidence on Google. Appear news of partnerships. Proof number 11. The Boxer. Monsieur Borde proposes to Microsoft page 22 and 32 to create an augmented reality boxing application. With a star boxer Muhammad Ali in hologram, we also see several holograms of sports training. Of course, Microsoft made a boxer hologram. It's Georges Takei, the Star Trek actor who was completely scanned in 3D with boxing gloves. Proof number 12. Dance, golf, basketball, football. Mr. Borde indicated in his book that he wanted to work with Microsoft. Create a football game like the FIFA game in real life size. Increase play basketball, golf, learn dance or do gym exercises the same. Proposals were copied by Microsoft to create the holograms of the dancer, the golfer, the basketball player, the footballer, the boxer. All were in Mr. Borde's file on page 22, 30, 31, 34, 35, 36, 40, 51 to allow sports to be played with headphones or view virtual coaches of sports dance classes. Proof 13. 3D avatar. This part concerns more the realization of holograms in 3D. We discover a lot of similarity in the elaboration of its holograms. Mr. Borde's book provides many details for Microsoft engineers. Look and observe page 5, 6, 7, 8, 18, 19, 76, 77 and 78 of the book. Thanks to specific scanners, we understand how holograms will work, how to build them, what they will be used for in the industrial, educational and cultural fields. The method to build your own hologram and animate it yourself, the virtues of the hologram in terms of communication. These pages correspond to the important notes that allowed Microsoft to launch patents, industrialize headsets and finally advertise before the commercial launch. Mr. Borde writes a complete project strategy for Microsoft. Proof 14. 3D, motorcycle, counterfeit. Mr. Borde had in his file page 53 and on his website, a 3D video, where we see a 3D character equipped with augmented reality glasses building a motorcycle in 3D. Once again, Microsoft has copied the project and uses for its Microsoft Hololens headset. Please watch book of Mr. Borde. Proof number 15. Counterfeit. Software partnership with Autodesk and Unreal Engine 5. For his helmet, Microsoft has partnered with the 3D software manufacturer, Autodesk and well. That's exactly what Monsieur Borde was proposing. Page 54. Look at they also then adopted the HoloLens 2 model for Unreal Engine 5. Proof 16. Dance virtual Rihanna, virtual Beyoncé. Microsoft has made an augmented reality video and application of Rihanna 3D hologram dancing and singing. Mr. Borde had proposed page 5, page 17 and page 40, Beyoncé, but the principle remains the exact same, that of seeing known stars in a hologram format viewable by means of an augmented reality helmet, to be closer as a fan of his favorite star and to have fun with her. See her sing, dance, do a karaoke or chat with her, do the same choreography with 3D dance hologram lessons. Made thanks to motion capture. Finally, when the user walks around town, see advertisements for holograms of stars such as giant advertising posters and real virtual stars everywhere to welcome you, advise you on how to promote brands. Watch and compare Microsoft videos with Mr. Borde's book. Proof number 17. Environmental 3D scanner. Microsoft has developed a new software for HoloLens which allows you to 3D scan the environment with the helmet. This scanner analyzes and models the space around you to synchronize the 3D augmented reality with your apartment, your workplace, to allow the 3D elements to be positioned perfectly and to be coherent with the real world. A hologram cat jumping from a chair on the floor of your realistic way with shadows. Thanks to this system, the holograms do not cross the walls like ghosts. We can see very great comparisons with the project of Mr. Borde, page 5 and 8. More particularly, which indicates this important point. Look. Evidence number 17. Windows wristband. Microsoft has developed software for the HoloLens headset that allows you to identify the movements of the user, a bit like motion capture equipment for the cinema. It allows to synchronize the movements of the legs thanks to the headset synchronized movement in the real and virtual world. 3D reality augmented in real time. All the information on the movements of the legs and arms are translated into real-time 3D. This time there are many similar points with Mr. Borde's file. In particular, the use of tests on treadmills with helmets and Microsoft biomechanical tracker bracelets, which have been tested and presented on the internet on their site. Microsoft.com. We draw your attention to the pages of Mr. Borde's book, page 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 20, 31 and 48. Look and compare for yourself. Proof number 18. Anatomical hologram. Microsoft has used for its helmet anatomical holograms of human men and women. They are presented real size for anatomical purposes. Once again, it seems certain that Mr. Borde's concepts and visuals were used for the applications of the Microsoft HoloLens headphones. These models present multiple interests such as medicine, art and fashion. We realize this immediately by observing the book of Monsieur Borde on pages 6, 7, 77 and 78. Watch and compare with Microsoft videos and info on Google News HoloLens. Proof number 19. Planet Earth in hands. Mr. Borde had sent his 172-page book and his Wearefuture website containing the certificates international copyright protected by the World Intellectual Property Organization. On the site, we saw the first book and its cover. It was a hand carrying the Earth, the logo Wearefuture, which represents the planet Earth and the peace and love symbol. Microsoft presents with its HoloLens helmet, the possibility of carrying the virtual planet Earth with its hand. Exactly like the logo of Monsieur Borde thanks to the hand tracking system. Proof 20. Military helmet. The Windows military helmet project had been proposed in Mr. Borde's book on page 36, 37, 56, 57, 62. This military helmet allowing to obtain more information and to act with Windows software working with the helmet. Well, Microsoft copied everything and obtained a $20 billion contract with the American Army in 2019. Look and compare between the documents of Mr. Borde and the news video from Microsoft. It is indeed the same helmet offered. Microsoft gradually copied the book because Mr. Borde filed for the first evidence elements consisting of complaints in 2014, 2015, 2016. It was only in 2019 and 2021 that this military helmet appeared subject to 2 additional complaints on these same dates and online form submission to FBI IPR Center Governor. Proof number 21. Windows Teleport. Holoportation. The possibility of using one's own 3D reality hologram avatar increases in seeing. The called Contacts hologram was submitted by Monsieur Borde in his book on page 18, 19, 26 to allow one to see and interact with his contact in 3D size real like a meeting. A real meeting in reality. The application is also accompanied by Windows video calling classic live type, Skype, Teams or WhatsApp. Please watch and compare proof number 22. Hologram calculation, distance meter. The system to see the number of meters or centimeters in augmented reality with the Windows helmet had been presented in Mr. Borde's book page 42, with a precise visual of course. Microsoft has copied this concept for its HoloLens helmet. Look at the pages of Mr. Borde and Microsoft's video. Proof number 23. Dome hologram. In Mr. Borde's book, transmitted to Microsoft, had been presented on page 6, 18, 22, 77, 78 a hemispherical 360 dome filled with 3D camera to scan and make 3D holograms. As an example, there was on his documents. Kanye West in the center as example of famous hologram star. Microsoft, 3 years later showed its green screen studio with a 360 hemispherical dome which looks exactly like Mr. Borde's plans. Mr. Borde, on his site, had several research and development books. You should know that Mr. Borde had transmitted the book but also his website. Except on his second book 2013 present on his site appears a very particular green background studio project also very close to the HoloLens studio look and compare the documents. Evidence number 24. Play Xbox with headphones. Monsieur Borde had proposed that we could play the Xbox with the Windows headset in augmented reality. Microsoft has once again used Mr. Borde's project page 10, 11, 32, 34, 35, 36, 51, 70. Look. Proof number 25. Eye tracking system. Microsoft indicated that it had added an eye tracking system to its helmet. This was precisely indicated on Mr. Borde's project on page 72, 74, 78, 79. The notes explain that the eye tracking system makes it possible to select the elements in 3D and to operate the depth of field of a 3D image thanks to the target position of the eye, which is tracked to retrieve eye movement information and simulate foreground and background blur in 3D. Look at the documents and compare. Evidence number 26. Fake celebrity hologram. Rihanna, George Takei, George Washington, and famous people, but also for the world of video games such as Warcraft, were made in functional 3D hologram for the Microsoft helmet. Mr. Borde had indicated that he wanted to bring holographic stars to life virtually using the helmet in his book page 22, 26, 27, 30, 31, 32, 39, 40, 50. They therefore copied this concept belonging to Mr. Borde. Also look and compare. Evidence number 27. Airbus case. The use of the helmet to allow rapid construction together. Thanks to 3D information with the Windows software had been proposed in Mr. Borde's book. Airbus and Microsoft have developed software to see each part of an aircraft in 3D for aircraft engineers to avoid making mistakes during manufacturing. Microsoft also gave the example of the elevator repair technician. Mr. Borde has repeatedly written in his book the interest of using this system for pro learning and augmented reality simulators. For the industrial world, professional training employment. Proof 28. Shrek hologram TV. The use of life-size holograms in front of the living room TV were present in the Microsoft Hololens project. You can see an example on the NFL American football video. The American football players appear life-size. Thanks to the Microsoft helmet in the form of a hologram during the viewing of the football match in front of the living room with the television. Once again, this concept had been proposed by Mr. Borde. We see Shrek page 39 of Mr. Borde's book appear in real-size format in front of a living room TV. Mr. Borde had also indicated a project for the Super Bowl in a stadium in axonometric view. See page of the book page 80, 81, 82, 83 and 84. But the application works for the Super Bowl. To complete the visualization of American football in 3D. Done very strongly. Think of the football project working with the helmet, even if the control is done in 3D axonometric and not in the first person. See page 30, 31, 34, 35, 36, 40. Look at the visuals and compare with the Microsoft video. Proof number 29. E-commerce. Shop styling. Mr. Borde had clearly indicated in his book. A project for the Windows helmet allowing to see Nike store. Fashion shops in augmented reality, 3D clothing that can be consulted, e-commerce fashion and creation tools for fashion designer. Of course the principle has been used by Microsoft. Once again watch the documents and the video. Proof 30. Monsieur Borde had promised an effervescence of the use of HoloLens for major brands and industrial groups. Microsoft has copied this strategy by contacting and selling this headset to more than 60% of the industrial companies. Forbes 500. Here is a list of the most well-known that you can observe: NASA, Samsung, Disney, McLaren, Rolex, Airbus and more. The court proceedings against Microsoft is a certain and reliable financial asset. It just need help. Third-party litigation funder to pay his lawyer in USA to win. Proof 31. Monsieur Borde designed his own augmented reality headset who work with simple phone. He prototype and name Holophone. This headset is really interesting because cost just $30 to $50 and work fine for industrial and public people. Monsieur Borde tried to find industrial investors to sell everywhere this magic product. Rajouter video at visual prototype Holophone. Thanks for your attention.